This is a video response to the Great White Stoke. Please forgive me in advance. These are just little thought fragments that I'm having in relation to your video. Couple things. Thinking back to what I was doing in 2019, managing a small shop. I think I had 4 people who worked for me, and maybe hired on a 5th, but there was at least 4 people who worked for me. I remember thinking back when all these news reports started happening, and I want to say initially, on Facebook, I watched the White House stuff because I was very entertained with Donald Trump's White House stuff. Was always quite entertaining, which it's not. I don't think it's the role of the United States president to be an entertainer, but he was not boring. And all of a sudden, these reports from China, like closing down their ports. No, this is what happened. I had a customer that said, hey, listen, let's hurry up and get all these parts ordered in because I think they're going to be closing down the shipments coming out of China. And I was like, what? And looked into it. And all of a sudden, man, I could see these warehouse inventories just all of a sudden just dwindling and just dropping and dropping and dropping. Next thing I know, China's closed off. Next thing I know, the United States government puts up a no-fly thing. Now, at the time for me, the CDC and Florida Department of Health were trusted sources. Unlike you, which you said that you knew right from the get-go that there was nothing to this and it was all a bunch of BS and that people weren't going to die and nothing was going to happen. I, on the other hand, I didn't know, and I still don't know as it pertains to future pandemics. I'm not so wise and educated to know that nothing could ever happen that could cause just this catastrophic circumstance that could just obliterate the human race. The information that I was seeing from what was supposed to be expert and what's supposed to be trusted sources explained the virality and how it spread and how you could be a carrier without actually showing symptoms. And me personally, it gave me quite a bit of caution because in my job, I interact with a lot of people and a lot of people interact with me. So my parents are older, have health risks. People in my household, there's health risks, according to what the experts were saying. I looked up the actual bug once they had it analyzed, and it was inspired by one of my customers who claimed to be a former virologist. Like in my area, there's a lot of retired people, so some of these people did some pretty amazing things in their workaday lives. And he said, man, this was early on. He's like, this could potentially be pretty bad. He's like, I've read some of these reports. He said the ones that I have access to, and the deal with it is like even an N95 mask, the size of this bug, it's like what 0.03 microns, or it's a small enough micron of size that it just blows right through an N95 mask like a mosquito going through a chain link fence is how it was described. And that made sense to me. And then when I looked up the size and I looked up the filtration of an N95 mask, okay, it made sense to me. Then another report comes out about how, well, basically it rides on slobber, and if you aerate or mist, like you sneeze and there's saliva globules in the air, then an N95 mask can filter some of that mist. So to me at that time, the mask thing made sense. As for the inoculation, or the whatever you want to call it, the jab, as everybody likes to say, I didn't know. I know it was going through faster than any type of shot before now, starting from zero. But they were getting, what made sense to me about it, though, they were getting computer scientists involved. It was more than just the usual people like they were bringing a lot more resources to bear than what they normally do. And so I don't know. And let's see. So then going by expert things, then all of a sudden a report comes in where I read that Fauci said, well, the reason that we discourage the N95 mask for normal people versus just a cloth face covering had to do with the scarcity of N95 and that needed to be reserved for healthcare workers. And, you know, a lot of things were locked down in our area. I assume you were in California. So certain things like trucking and shipping, like I had customers that, because restaurants weren't getting food deliveries anymore, there was like a serious shipping interruption there, like as far as deliveries go and everything. So I am curious to you is what made you know that it was BS from the start? Is it just like your natural distrust for those services, or did you have a certain source? I know you were an EMT for a while, and I know a few of my acquaintances that are first responders, they actually changed very little as far as like face coverings, because the ones that are law enforcement, they actually have like a sanitation regimen that they go through anyway that that to them made it seem more like it wasn't going to be an issue. I do know law enforcement in our area, and according to, I was watching TikTok videos back then, so heaven only knows what China knows about me, but it was interesting like how little law enforcement would then interact with people, you know, before determining to pull them over, according to those videos. So, yeah, good topic, and I hope it's one that we can continue to discuss, because there's so much that we can unpack from it, philosophically and from a public health standpoint. And all right, and open comments and interaction to anyone, so long as the great Google gods allow this video to stay up. Catch y'all later.